The summer of Smash is upon us, building your community from the bottom up, and Ryan Reynolds apparently has a black son. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Gloves Off podcast, coming to you guys live every Tuesday here on twitch.tv/MasterHandGames. I am Master Hand Games' very own Koopa, and joined, as always, every week, I am joined to the detective to my Pikachu, Mr. Chris CX. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, dude? I feel like you may have spoiled something for me, but I'm not going to ask any questions. I think I might be better off not knowing.
You know what? Out of context, it's great. In context, it's even weirder. But
I can't wait to figure it out.
Yeah, and also making his long fabled return in like a month or something like that. It's our Hungry.
Hello, I'm here.
I mean, honestly, it's an epic return. I think because it was a podcast, or the podcast. This is the podcast. Welcome. No, but it was the episode we did with the PR, and that was the last time. But then before that, it was like I feel like a couple months. So
yeah, Hungry's been a good boy, going to school, taking that free money.
Learning to meet some football.
Yeah, and we will be joined at some point by Ajax. He's just MIA, seeing a man about a horse somewhere, but
probably somewhere to the north.
Hopefully, most likely. But yeah, so I'm just gonna, as you can tell by the layout today, we're kind of having a fun day today. It was kind of a slow weekend in regards to like the big tournament news. There was like a couple of things that were spread out. I think the biggest thing that happened this weekend was I think major-wise was Saint Gaming's tournament up in Canada, which I think was won by Tweak, if I'm correct, over Cosmos.
So that was Mars. I forgot.
I think Mars got third, and Cosmos got second.
That was the one. That was on VG, right?
Yes, I think so.
That's right. Yeah. I recall. Yeah, that was kind of the only thing. There wasn't really much else going on. But this is kind of a good time to cover majors in terms of like. Coop, I know this was an idea you came out to me actually kind of earlier on the early side, thinking ahead because, as you already mentioned, it's kind of a dead zone as far as events and just things going on, like relevant things that you might want to hear about. But since summer is coming, like literally every weekend feels like there's a major or something big happening. And, as even someone listening to this, I'm assuming, still getting to know the scene. There's always a few of you out there. Like, there is like a protocol to traveling out to events and sort of traveling with people and what it's like when you're actually at the tournament and, whether you go by plane, by car, whatever the case may be. It's still sort of like important information to have and kind of a good like overview of if you like, let's just say this is the first summer since Ultimate just came out and you're brand new to like Smash competitive in general. Like this stuff has been going on for years. So, we have a couple very seasoned veterans in both yourself, Koopa, and our Hungry, who, I mean, Hungry, how I know you've been playing for a while and you've gone to like a ton of things, both by plane and by car. So
I have not flown yet. This will be my first time flying for Smash Splash.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah, he's ridden shotgun in my car several times. So
I've ridden shotgun in many people's car.
That's true.
I am the shotgun.
Yeah, so I figured I can kind of scout out that like it's weird when you kind of have a dead quote unquote weekend in regards to like big tournaments because like you said the game has been so fresh in everybody's minds and tournament results and in regards to size are huge. And actually, once you get into the summertime, things are going to get kind of hairy in regards to scheduling events and stuff like that. Like, there's going to probably be something crazy every weekend. I figured it would be a good time because, it is the first summer of Smash Ultimate. There's a lot of cool events going around. And I think, as people who have, gone to a multitude of events, give people a look into how you plan going to a major, because it might sound like going to any other tournament, but depending on what you go to and where you go, your mileage may vary in regards to how much prep time you got to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially it depends. Like, there's all different kind. Like, there's players everywhere, basically, and majors are sort of like the foundation to like getting a region known. So it's like you could be from a certain region, but obviously some regions are more poppin' than others. And then the landscape, even like on a local stage, like especially a lot of local guys watching, is going to change because you have people like James traveling, you have people like which is like basically the top echelon of like PR candidates that we've gotten kind of comfortable like just sizing up New Jersey to New Jersey results. Like this is the time when you'll see a lot of these guys get like out of state results. Just because of the frequency and the availability to go places because they don't have school, etc. As you can see, the footage of James at Frostbite. So,
Well, James particularly, he's like he just won like that Michigan tournament. What was it called? Like Midwest Arena or something like that.
yeah, that was the hit point when we had Rick was on last week about that, as a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
and then he's going MomoCon, and he's going Gamo, and he's going Smash Splash, and that's all the same month.
Wow, I didn't realize he was doing that much traveling. So yeah, that's like those are all big events too. By the way,
Yeah.
like Gommel is how many entrants does Gommel get? That's like in the probably 1,000. Does that hit
I think
1,000?
It's down to something, I think.
Yeah, so you got that.
Well, attendees says 1421, but I don't know what it's separated by. It might be like 700 something for Melee, 700 for Ultimate.
I mean,
Trying to look for it
regardless,
now.
as far as like the PGR tiers go, like it's up there, probably the BA range, if not, higher, like Smash and Splash is an S. Like this is the time of big tournaments. These kinds of things don't really happen during the year, but all right, now that I feel like we phrase that in a million different ways, but regardless, I mean, what do you have in mind, Koopa? So prep time as far as like, going to a regional up north for us or, taking a plane to Michigan.
Right. Well, I think the simplest step to take is to pick a tournament to go to because I am aiming this towards the people that like, you're kind of like I'm picturing a kid in high school that's kind of only been going to locals and his parents kind of give him permission to go to like one of these things for the summer. So I think there's people like us who never have money but always magically have enough money to go to Smash tournaments. So I don't think this is much of a video for people like that, like people who very clearly travel all the time. So, is that Smash 4 footage? My God,
it is. I was mostly just looking for. I was looking for bigger events and Smash and Splash. This is 2 iterations ago.
I thought Gonz was playing this.
This was a N64 hat Aragons.
I'm getting triggered seeing that platform move, man.
Yeah, this is kind of weirding me out too. I can't look at this.
Nah, Nessa's old up air was wigging me out. But yeah, so I think the important thing is you kind of have to pick where you're going to go if you're only going to be able to go to one tournament over the summer. And at that point, my advice to you would be like to kind of do your homework. Like, I'm sure if you're hip with the scene, you probably have a Twitter account of some sort. You're probably, following a bunch of top players. You're probably seeing, where they're going. And I think, from what I hear from people in the know and from what I tell people, like, I think events like Smash and Splash, if you can afford a flight to Madison, Wisconsin, or to the Wisconsin Dells, then by all means go for it. It's a fun tournament just in the fact that it's in a water park. So that naturally makes things much more, what's the word I'm looking for?
I feel like it's a little bit more casual. You don't have to go expecting to play a certain way or do certain things. You have a water park just to hang at.
Yeah, there's stuff to do. That's the big thing. Like, you don't really realize it when you're at Smash tournaments. There's like, unless you're like super into just like sitting down and playing games, like there isn't really much else to do. And I think that's why events like Smash and Splash work so well, is because it kind of gives you not only like a plethora of side events, which I think there's a whole shit ton of them. You can hear about them on our last podcast with Rickles.
Yeah, they give you multiple opportunities to drown.
Yeah, literally. Both figuratively and literally, with lifeguards on duty.
Or to swim a little bit until you drown eventually,
Yeah, I didn't say immediately.
That's true. That's true.
Eventually.
But yeah, so all these tournaments offer something a little bit different. Even in the way of other games, as you can see, MomoCon has a ton of like FGC stuff, including like, multiple iterations of Street Fighter, Marvel, DBZ. So it really just depends what you're looking for, whether it be as a competitor or even just a person traveling around. Yeah, so I guess there's definitely strategies to that, and they all cost a different amount of money too. So depending on what you save up in your piggy bank, that's going to change. Because if you have to buy a plane ticket somewhere, and let's just say there's a heavy venue fee, maybe not your guy. But maybe you live somewhat local, possibly driving distance, or the venue fee is like cheaper, probably your guy. You know?
Yeah, like definitely get in contact with people in your scene because I know that there's a big tri-state push to go to Smash and Splash. So like, just you go where your friends are. Definitely, just don't like choose to randomly go to some event that like nobody in your scene is gonna go to. Um, so that, in my opinion, is definitely like the strategy. Like obviously, looking what's geographically closest to you. Like if you live on the East Coast, then maybe don't put all your eggs in the Evo basket or something like that. Or versus like if you live in the Midwest, don't put all your eggs in the Shine basket unless you have the means to like get there. So my advice is always find if it's drivable, then that should be the one that you aim for. And I feel like that's why I tend to favor Super Smash Con every year. Like I've gone to every Smash Con except one. Just mostly because I just didn't feel like going the first time because I wanted to see what it was about. But that's like a very easy pick right there, just because it's another one of those things where it's a really easy place to get to, and there's a whole fuck ton of stuff for you to do. So
Yeah, versus going to like Evo, where honestly, like Evo is pretty crazy, obviously, as it's like the biggest and most like storied fighting game tournament that there is. And like as you could see, like if you are watching this versus listening, like you'll see like what the crowd and audience looks like. It's pretty insane. Like it's what you would imagine like a massive like sporting event would look like. You know, packed out stadium seating, yada yada yada. Which is its own experience, I guess.
But it's like if you're not into like the Vegas thing, that you're not gonna have a good time if you're not like
Yeah,
you have to be into either the Vegas stuff or into like the competition really hard. You have to be like a spectator.
yeah, and it just depends like if you're into that. Like some people are really into the spectator stuff, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're into storylines, which is sort of like you'll see in the overlay there's a little community tab. There's a purpose for that. I don't want to get into it yet. But like so people really enjoy sports in audiences like in being a spectator, but I feel like that is being still sort of defined in esports in general. And what has made Smash unique to this point is basically the major events or the things of heavy traffic or even just heavy attention. They're a little bit different in regard where they're a little bit more, what's the word, interactive maybe. Whereas like if you're going to play, you're also going to be spectating versus just going to spectate. Like there isn't really that picture there yet. However, you know, that debatably that's being built and all that, but that's like one of those things to think about as well. Like just having things to do is really like important for this because otherwise you do end up drowning in pools and then you just like kind of might not enjoy the experience altogether. But that is sort of
yeah,
exclusive to Smash, perhaps.
yeah, and I do feel like that's why these like major events are like just kind of a league above everything else because they always kind of add on some other stuff for you to do, whether it be like a game room or something like that, whether it be vendors for you to shop at. Like obviously, if you like, want to, if you want to start small and like, save the small monkey man in the eighth dimension instead of uh, like
The
putting
wood
all your
monkey
eggs.
man.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could easily go to like if you want to go to a regional or something like that as your first like big summer tournament, then you do that. But like obviously having that other stuff to do makes a huge difference. And I think obviously the thing you kind of have to worry about on the back end of that is like, um, you really have to pay attention to when the tournament is and when you like there has to be a deadline for you to meet where you're like, okay, I need to decide by X point if I'm gonna go to this because as you've as I've seen multiple times, is like, sometimes you if you wait too long, then the money just becomes too great, and then you're kind of next thing you know, you're sleeping in the floor of a 9-person hotel room, and you're just fucking miserable the whole weekend.
So
Yeah,
so
don't
that
do that. You don't do that.
that's like a
You
okay.
do that
So
at
so
that too, but
So that's another aspect of this that you just sort of reminded me of. And this is coming from someone who hasn't really traveled a ton to really anything because I've kind of been holding it down work-wise sort of in this area. But what I can tell you about Smashers and traveling and all that is they move in packs and for affordability's sake, you know, sharing room is sort of like a thing that just happens. Hell, sharing a bed and all that stuff too. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Yeah, travel with friends and be prepared to split things with them because otherwise everything is very, very expensive.
Yeah, that's like the big thing. So like, I feel like once you pick out where you want to go, like I'm gonna use Super Smash Con as an example, just because that's like far enough away to where it's plannable and like things are still quote unquote affordable. Because like, you know, the venue fee at SmashCon is absolutely insane, but you're also getting your money's worth, so I'm not going to complain too hard about that.
I'm gonna quit anyway.
Yeah. Like, definitely take advantage of like the early bird. That's another thing I can get into. But
Yeah,
once you,
plan.
yeah,
For
like
sure.
once you pick your target destination of choice, that's when you have to get into like the hard stuff, which is the financial part of things. So like, I'm of the ilk where like I tend to, like, depending on like how close I am to the situation, like I usually try to lock down a place to stay first, because that's always the hardest part to get people to commit on, because like I said, smashers are notorious for not having money. Not everybody knows that you're going to be able to make it or not, and you want to make sure you give yourself enough leeway to where it's like, okay, I can put down for this incredibly expensive hotel room, and like I'm gonna be able to not have to pay out of pocket for it because all my friends suck.
Yeah.
Like, that's me personally. Like, I need to lock down like where I'm staying before I even think about like signing up for the tournament.
Well, I mean that's what makes sense, and that's usually how travel is supposed to run.
Don't forget to actually sign up.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
They
like
have
you
deadlines too.
you think that's easy? Yeah, like you think that's easy. Me and Hungry both know a person who we were everything was like was set. Like, we had the hotel, we had the plans, and then the event capped, and said friend forgot to sign up for the tournament.
Oh. Oh boy. That's
Yeah.
a little bit of a goof, yeah.
So definitely, like, signing up for the tournament is very important. Don't wait too long to do that. Like, most majors, if you like, they'll announce them like months ahead of time. So like, if you know like what you want to go to, like if you know you want to go to Shine, or if you know you want to go to Evo or SmashCon, then like you'll know with enough leeway. It's like, okay, I'm gonna sign up now. Take advantage of the early bird. Like, you will save yourself so much money and stress if you just sign up early. I signed up for Shine with the early bird. It's the first time I've ever done it. It's the safest $65 I've ever spent in my entire life.
I should do that.
Because here's the pro tip. Like, you like you don't have to sign up for everything at once. Like, if you wanna, like, usually I like to pay my venue fee like way ahead of time, and then like you can, because the venue fee is always gonna fluctuate, but the entry fee is gonna stay the same like up until the last day you can register. So definitely, if you like, I highly recommend doing that, where like you pay the big end of it first, and then worry about the events like once you get your money like more handled. So
Yeah, and it does seem to be I guess we could sort of transition a little bit, because I think that one of the big underlying things about like the majors and all of that stuff is sort of like and alluded to this as I was talking about spectator esports and spectator sports versus like being interactive. Um, the majors, especially nowadays, like there are the ones like Evo that are just like there's a lot of money, so obviously, and there's a lot of history, so it's like it's just big and well known. But then you do have the things that sort of did grow, and pardon the overused expression, in the grassroots sense. And that is because primarily people getting to these things are people from like one local area that travel in a group, and then that local area kind of meets up with other local areas, and then it sort of like opens up the lines of communication. And I feel like this is sort of a thing that is very unique to Smash in general. And I think it's something that kind of I've been thinking about a lot, especially because we've been messing around. I don't know how many people watching this or listening have stumbled across the highlight video that we just recently had made by Haven, where it basically is like a local recap and sort of highlights some players, mostly Gons in this particular case because he won literally like I think 5 tournaments last week. But regardless of that, I sort of think that whole picture is a very big picture of the majors, because not only does that get you closer to like your people that you already know from a local level that you see all the time, but it also bridges the gap into like the other local scenes, because a lot of these majors are just in different places, like MomoCon's in Atlanta, Smash Con's in Virginia, what's it called, Smash and Splash, Wisconsin. So it's like all of these areas already have their own local scene. So that tournament, that major, is going to be local for someone, and it'll be of that region, and then everything else kind of gets plugged into that. In New Jersey specifically, I think the biggest one we've really had, or the mark, is probably Collision, I would say. And that tournament essentially defined this area for a bit, because people got to see essentially what the community looks like around here and how rowdy things get. and whether it be someone saying let's go player one, or he's gonna jump behind you, like there's still a lot to be essentially discovered and created there. So, I mean, I didn't really have a direct path for this line, but it's definitely been something that I'm noticing kind of is in the background, building stuff like what we're talking about, but doesn't, not that it isn't being worked on, because I think everyone who does Smash stuff, like the most popular coin is like, well, I just do it for the community and I want it to, I want to help the community. And it's, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I think it's super important though, and I didn't realize it until like I sort of saw like some newer content like from like even just a local recap. It's crazy, man. There's just so much involved in all of this stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Like, there's so much that goes into this. Like you said, like, and you've seen it with like spread through at other regions. Like, the landscape of how things are at the floor versus how they were like when I got into the scene is like drastically different. That's a topic I talk about like constantly whenever I am like traveling and stuff like that, or like just noticing, the like whether it be like the stream quality of something, whether it be like the content that a certain region or person puts out, and that also can all be blended into, like you said, like major traveling, because like these every major has to happen somewhere. There's a local scene behind that, like, so through that community building and all that stuff, like you'll probably it's like, hey, you might meet a friend that plays Smash like 10 minutes away from where Super Smash Con is, and you'll be able to like save yourself money by sleeping on their couch and not telling them. Like, you just show up day of. Yeah, so fun fact.
I do not associate with Koopa KR or whatever it is.
You sure about that?
We'll
you need a ride? You need a ride?
Only then.
Yeah. That's it.
But like it's sort of no. Go on, continue.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that's also like my Koopa pro tip in regards to traveling to major tournaments over the summer. Smashers stay traveling without places to stay sometimes. I've seen it happen.
Jack was here, so he could talk about it.
Yeah, infamous for that. Just the YOLO like car trip.
Who are we talking about?
No, I said Ajax. He has the Chavo Towers or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for some reason.
If only he was here to talk about it.
Oh yeah.
It's Ajax is I'm sure
Dad.
He's here in spirit.
He got snapped, but I do want to say shout out to Chavo Towers and Layla. That dog just makes it worth it every time. But
Yep.
That's a nice dog. But yeah, like I said, like make friends. Like it's important. That community building is huge, and like you said, like not only does that help you getting to these places, but then like I always love watching like the pre-big major weekly, because that's when you'll see like the top players show up to farm money. Like you'll see like tournament organizers like locally have meltdowns because they're not used to having that many people at a tournament. like I know Frostbite does it every year with like Ursa Minor. I know like obviously like it's a little bit harder when like I think of Xanadu as an example, because Xanadu's on a Tuesday. So like if you plan on traveling that far in advance to a major, you probably have bills and friends lined up. So
probably. Yeah, I really like I look at the majors as like the medium from turning the local scene into basically the bigger picture of recognizable scene. Like, because the majors are what get the attention. Like, those are the things that have like tens of thousands of like, well, yeah, tens of thousands of viewers to them. And like essentially like probably my favorite part about majors, like, and is like local commentary, especially local commentators who like actually know what they're doing, because then you literally learn about like that scene in particular, especially in like the pools phase when a lot of the local like maybe sharks are still swimming around a bit. And yeah, I mean, we had an instance of this even in like Suplex City on like a super local level. Like I'm specifically like when Leon, who is someone we're very well familiar with in this call and even on this channel if you're listening, because you're probably familiar with hearing us talk about him, but was otherwise like a no name at all. Taking on Nairo, who is like a top 5 player, top 3 player in the world, whatever he is at this point. Mm-hmm. So this is not only like just like a little glimpse of the scene, but it's also like it sort of just builds up interest in general. Like Leon goes from not being known to actually people like, wow, this is a Bowser that looks like he's probably good to learn from, or is, has X style that I really like and want to watch more. So I don't know. There's just there's I always get so like on the big picture of things where I'm just like, dude, like this is like basically the gateway to Smash being like a watchable esport for people versus just like, oh, I go to locals and I hope I show up on stream once, or oh, I go to a tournament here and there and I think it's cool versus like an actual structured thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
where there's recognizable entities per area. Like this is like the bridge to that are like the majors and getting yourself
Yeah.
to them and playing other
I was
areas.
I was gonna say everybody loves an underdog story. Like that's always the thing that you like subscribe to when you go to these tournaments. Like I stay subscribed to the PG Stats Twitter, like during majors, just so I can like keep track of all the upsets. And that's always fun to watch. Like especially if it's like a local player that like shows up on stream, like you said, like with the local commentator to go along with it. Like it just kind of makes the experience that much sweeter to watch. And that is like, in my opinion, one of the best parts about a major. If you're spectating from home, like watching it in person is like cool too, but like watching it at home, like that's where your money is.
Yeah, man, and usually like if you have a good well functioning local scene and each scene is different in this regard, then like even the chat lights up. Like the whole landscape changes. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen James on like a big stage and literally everyone comes in from the scene and is just like, let's go James or XYZ. Like it was even Midwest Arena last week or 2 weeks ago with
The
Rickles.
TSS viewing party, basically.
Basically, yeah. So we had a
Yeah.
monthly in New Jersey in Platinum Star, and James had been traveling that same weekend to the Midwest at this tournament, and everyone was basically just watching, cheering on, and I'm sure chat was popping off too because I saw it pop it off basically when I was on my way home, like listening. So it is really something. Like these are very much the building phases, and I think like sometimes even I forget just how early on into this stuff we are, and like kind of the potential it has to sort of branch out into that because it really kind of like writes itself,
Yeah, without a doubt. So, there are a lot of steps obviously like going into this. Like where else did I leave off? Like finding a place to stay, signing up for the tournament, making sure you have a ride. That's also very huge.
Yeah, having a ride is pretty important when you signed up.
Yeah, like transportation is obviously the big thing. Like if you want to go to a tournament that you have to fly to, like that kind of makes the crunch process a little bit harder. Like the only time I ever prioritize like a hotel over anything else is when I have to fly somewhere because I know that's going to be the most expensive thing.
Yeah, that adds up by day for sure.
Yeah. My pro tip for that is I heard it, I don't know if this is actually true or not, but like I'm just gonna go on record by saying this is a Koopa pro tip with an asterisk. But I heard that if you buy flights on a Tuesday, they're significantly cheaper than when you
Really?
buy them in a week. Yeah,
I've
Yo,
heard things like that.
I gotta check
like
that out.
yeah, my friend told me that like flights are usually cheapest at like Tuesday morning or something like that.
Interesting.
I've never actually like checked that because I'm never up early enough on a Tuesday to like check if I actually do
Yeah,
that.
you don't go to work or anything.
I mean I do, but I'm usually getting out of bed late, so I'm more of like fuck, I gotta get to work on time.
I
Versus
thought-
fuck, I need to check this flight.
I thought you were gonna tell me to go in incognito mode when I searched my flights.
That's also a thing.
Yeah.
Really?
So basically, they say
That's for hotels too.
yeah. So if you're like on like any kind of travel website and your cookies of being within said travel site are now like solidified in your browser, the next time you go back, it's possible that the prices go up just because it recognizes that your browser has already been there.
Yeah, so that you regret like not picking the cheaper one, and you go, "Oh no, I gotta buy it now. It's gonna get even more expensive later."
Yeah, sense of urgency to just book immediately. Good for good for business. The sneaky
Yeah.
sons of bitches.
Yeah, so definitely plan ahead of time if you like plan on flying somewhere, but also like make sure you have if you're driving somewhere. Like I never like to drive to a tournament without at least like 3 people in the car with me, because like not only is it like hard to drive long periods of time by yourself, like, but it's also you know, yeah, it just makes things more fun, and also it's one person to at least like, try to keep you awake while you're driving. Is like that's the hardest part for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, having friends is definitely cool. Especially like actually, this might be a good segue. I'm just thinking about it. I've seen packs of people going to see the Pikachu movie already, and I know that you've already seen it. And it's just like I'm just staring at it now on the overlay. I've really wanted to see this. It's kind of something like I was like, oh, maybe I'll go with my nephew, but he's 4, and I feel like he won't be able to sit through the whole thing. But I kind of want to hear about it because I've heard it's actually good.
It's actually okay, but it has
Do you,
Pikachu in it.
Yeah, if do we want to like move to this as our like fun third topic for today?
Yeah, I think so because I'm thinking like if for whatever reason Ajax pops in at the end, we could always jump back to relevant stuff. But in the meantime, I know you've been kind of clamoring to bring this one up.
Yeah, so like I said, it was kind of a slow weekend, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, let's do something fun. I want to talk about Detective Pikachu because we did talk about this a couple of weeks ago when we talked about the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And how this movie is coming out, and like I think my mindset going into this, because I love movies, like I go to the movies all the time, and my big thing for this was, if you look at the source, like video game movies, it's no secret, video game movies are usually mediocre at best, like depending on what you're into.
That's not be easy here. They're usually horrible.
Yeah, they're usually pretty bad. They're bad.
Yeah, you're right. Like, and when I heard they were making a Pokemon movie, let alone a Detective Pikachu movie, once I found out that, I was very nervous because the source material for Detective Pikachu is tragic. That game is so bad. It is really bad.
It's for children.
It's like baby's first
actual literal children.
Yeah, it's like it's like worse Ace Attorney for children, more or less.
That has Pikachu.
But like, I saw the movie. I actually saw the movie twice this weekend.
Jeez.
I'm glad I did because the first time I saw it, I did not get Pokemon cards.
It's Ryan Reynolds' son.
Yeah.
I know that now.
Moving on. Yeah, so without spoiling too much about the movie, because obviously if you see it, you can. I thought the movie was really good. Like, by really good, it's like there's clear problems. Like, not everything in this movie stuck, but like I came out with a smile on my face. I enjoyed the time I spent, and I think the biggest thing I noticed, compared to like other video game movies that I've seen, is that it's very clear that the directors took the source material seriously, because like everything just felt the things that they did right. They felt really good, at least with the Pokemon, in my opinion.
Dude, they look really good to me. As I'm flipping through these pictures, the textures look really, really nice, and I feel like that's the hardest thing to do because when you're drawing an anime cartoon and everything's just a flat color, like where do you get texture? But everything kind of looks like animal and beast-ish, which is something. Even like Mewtwo, where'd he go? Like that's a pretty I don't know. That's pretty good because I couldn't ever think about like how to structure like a somewhat altered sentient being of a Pokemon. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Look at him, dude. It's like he's not too human, but human enough to be like, wow. He's kind of like shiny and stuff. Like it's interesting how they very good take on like textures of fictional beasts.
Well, here was my thing about Pokemon versus Sonic thing, was like they had to get so many Pokemon right, and they got all of them right. And you only have to get one Sonic right.
Look at this guy.
Whole movie.
Look at him.
He's in the whole movie. He's gonna get one Sonic right. The eight palms are there for like 10 minutes, and they're amazing. Like,
look,
they had one thing to make it look good.
I gotta say, like both times I saw the movie, they showed the Sonic trailer, and I think this is the sign of Stockholm syndrome, like setting in. Or like it's the scene where the guy's like pointing the gun at Sonic. He's just like, meow. It's just like that part specifically makes me laugh every time. I can't and Gangster's Paradise just is so the tonal whiplash of that trailer just is awful. But yeah, I agree. Like the Pokemon that they put in the movie, because like there's a lot of Pokemon in the movie. Like if you're even the second time I was watching, I was trying to like look around to see if there was like any ones that I missed, and like both times I went, there's like, oh, I didn't notice that the first time, or like, oh, how'd you get there? Like it's not just the original 151 or like the mascot characters that people like know about. Like they put in a lot of fucking like love and care to these Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm looking through it. There's a lot. There's a lot of different Pokemon here.
Yeah, I just without spoiling anything, Mr. Mime is the best Pokemon in the movie.
Yeah,
IMO.
that's actually the part of the movie where I was like legitimately, oh, this is actually pretty funny.
Yeah, like I like that got belly laughs out of me like multiple times. So like I think the good about the movie is that, you know, I think the Pokemon were handled well. I think all that was fine. And I thought Ryan Reynolds was great. Like he was pretty much just a PG Deadpool, which I'm sure is what people wanted.
Oh yeah.
Like he was absolutely fantastic in the movie. Like he made like a really like crude joke about a one night stand, and that got like a really good laugh out of me. But like he was, you know, he was really good in the movie. But I'm gonna turn it over to you first, Hungry. Like what's something about the movie you didn't like?
It's a very by the numbers movie. There's no risk involved anywhere. It's like it's just full of tropes. It's like I'm not saying like that the movie is horrible. I'm just saying the movie isn't fantastic. It's not even like great. It's just not offensive to anybody. It's like they just tried really hard to make it watchable. Does that make sense? It's just like
No, that does. Yeah.
Well, they
I,
sounds like
I'd
they
be
hit the
very
mark. Like
yeah, like they didn't try to make it good. They just tried to make it not bad.
That's fair.
that's
Yeah,
like not a bad route though when you think about what we opened up with how bad video game movies are. Like
Yeah,
not a bad
I'm
strategy.
not a bad strategy at all. It's just very just like whose movie is this? Who's this movie for? You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
Yeah, what
like,
you
is
what
it
are you
like
trying to be? Yeah.
yeah.
that's fair.
It's mostly just like I want to see the Pokemon in CG, and that's kind of what the movie was. And that's where they put the most work in. So I guess they kind of succeeded in that.
Yeah, because like not trying to throw shade at like the actual human actors in this movie, but like some of the acting in this movie is absolutely atrocious. Like it's just like visibly bad at some points, and like I get it. Like I'm not going to the movie like you said for, you know, the forced, you know, like love story they might try to throw in, or like this and that, and like Ken Watanabe having literally nothing to do. Um,
Yeah.
like that, I was just like, ugh. Like I wish the human acting was just a little bit better. Like that would have just, but like I said, like it wasn't gonna it wasn't gonna make the movie any better for me, but it wasn't gonna like hinder it for me either, because the Pokemon, like by that point in the movie, I'm just like, okay, like I'm already here, like the Pokemon look fine. But that part of it's like kind of like sucked it out of me. Like not all the jokes stuck and all that stuff, but like I said, I think it's clear that like the directors were like, how do we make this movie like not like bad versus how do we make it good? Because like going into this movie, I was thinking like, what's the best case scenario for this movie if it's like great? Like what is like a great video game movie? Like
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't even have to be a great video game movie. It's I'll compare it to a comic book movie, like The Dark Knight. If Batman was not a movie at all, that movie would still be a classic. That movie is actually just a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good story.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, like
good
if it
point.
were just some crazy psychopath not called the Joker, it would still be very well directed. It would still have great acting, and it would still have a good story. You know what I mean?
Not
And
this
then
not this movie.
not this movie. This movie, no one cared about it. No one would have talked about it for more than 5 seconds. They'd be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
this movie did not do horrible."
Yeah, like
This-
Pikachu's like some other sort of animal that's also mousy and just like
yeah,
talking, and then there's like a bunch of and then people are just like, I don't get
Detective
it.
Jerry, something like that.
Detective Stuart Little.
This is like the story of Pokemon Go, because like Pokemon Go was a game that was just like regular monsters by like whoever, I can't remember the name of the developers for Pokemon Go already, but like
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
It was
but
like some tower game,
yeah, it was just some other game, and then they just add Pokemon to it, and all of a sudden it's like the greatest
the
game
most
anyone's ever
popular
played,
game.
most popular, and everyone's about it. So
Yeah,
it
that game sucks.
yeah, so it really
Shade. I'm just gonna keep throwing shade, man. I don't care.
it's pretty crazy, dude. The Pokemon franchise carries, and honestly, like if I'm just trying to take my kids somewhere for 2 hours just so they could be busy and entertained, I would bring them, even if the story was subpar. So
Yeah,
It
like
hits. It hits the mark.
yeah, like it gets the job done. It's a good way for like parents to like pass the time. I went with my brother-in-law on Sunday. He didn't understand a damn thing what was going on. So like, but he was just like, yeah, like we'll go, like we'll take my nephew and time to explain everything. So I had to do the brunt of the grunt work. But I was like thinking like, what's the best case scenario for this movie? It's like, what if it's like Resident Evil, where like it kind of like exists in like in name in the universe, but like they try to like generate a story around it. Because I was most worried about like what are they gonna like talk about for this movie? Because like Pokemon isn't a game you play for the story. Like in
No.
very rare circumstances you don't. So like that's why I was just like, okay, maybe they can go to Resident Evil route where it's like they make uh like version specific characters and like kind of tie in like other like canon characters at some point to kind of like like make things familiar for people, like how to add it in like Joe Valentine and Chris Redfield in like certain films of the Resident Evil
Yeah.
franchise or something like that.
So I don't even know the premise of this movie, and I'm not gonna ask, but like I wonder if it just would have been better off if they just tried to do like basically what they did, but just do more of the traditional like Pokemon follow some kid who's trying to get some badges. Like I feel like that would be a
I
very
think they
easy
could.
way to do. Like to
Yeah, I think that the Pokemon like the story isn't really heavy like in terms of actual narrative for Pokemon games, especially like the first one. But there is a structure there that is can lend itself to its story. It's like what the hero's journey is, that kind of like it's like
Mm-hmm.
road path. The game follows that without the narrative part. You still come back to the original town, and then you must face a greater challenge. That kind of stuff. That stuff is still present in the structure of the game without the narrative part.
I just
So
Right.
you can't form a story around that.
I just wonder if like I hope I just kind of hope it takes that trajectory though, because I feel like I don't know if you just like, actually explained a game in movie format, like you can do that. And I know Pokemon isn't story heavy, but you could still sort of like I don't know.
There's enough of a structure there where
There
you can make your own movie out of it,
for
in my
sure.
Yeah.
opinion.
You could easily get 2 hours out of that, especially when an anime exists and all you have to do is like copy one story arc. But
Yeah,
I
and and just really quick without spoiling anything, like they do like I understand it is a Detective Pikachu movie, but they don't ignore like names and stuff like that of like other places in the Pokemon canon. Like there are like little references and stuff like that to like other places in the universe. So it's not like totally like like a separate entity. So maybe because this movie was like such a box office smash, even though it didn't beat the Avengers this weekend.
I don't think anything's going to at this point.
Yeah, play the Titanic's team. But I
Yeah.
like I think because this movie did so well that like maybe you can start seeing like more movies in this universe like take off. Like I know the directors like jokingly said they'd want to do like a Star is Born but with Jigglypuff, which I would like totally sign up for because that'd be really fucking funny.
That sounds pretty good.
Like I don't know, maybe it's like I don't know how like you guys feel, but like I think this like because of how much money this made, like it proves that this sort of genre can like succeed if like the right people are behind it, obviously.
Here's what I find interesting. I just think about, especially when you think about like Sony and PlayStation, how many of their movies are I'm sorry, how many of their games play out like movies as it is. So I don't know. That's obviously a wave of some sort, but it hasn't really been something Nintendo's done. Nintendo's always been more of just like they make games that are games, like not a
Yeah,
whole lot
they've
of like cutscenes or like huge stories.
they've made a comment of like people asked them like, "Oh, would you make a Zelda movie?" And they said that they'd have to make it different somehow. Like if somehow like the audience could like make decisions for Link, like that's like one of like the ideas they had.
Whoa, that's
Like
weird.
it sounds interesting at least, right?
Ooh, like a choose your own adventure movie,
Yeah,
which isn't unheard of because Netflix did something similar with the Black Mirror movie,
yeah.
where it's like that's definitely an option you could go because like
It'd
that's
be
I
very
think
difficult for that to be like a cinema thing though.
yeah I agree
But that's
that's
what they
more
say
like
they haven't done it yet. They want to, if it's like a Zelda movie, they have to do something different. They can't just make a movie, is what they said.
Wand of Gamelon the movie.
But yeah, I don't know. I think if anything, it's encouraging. At the very least, just getting the aesthetic right is a big deal. And I don't know. To be honest with you, if I wanted to experience Pokemon, I'd probably play it. But like just having something nice to look at for a couple hours is fine. So I don't know. What do you guys got? Do you want to get back to majors? I guess Ajax isn't
Yeah,
going to
Ajax.
join us.
Yeah, I guess Ajax died, so I will reprimand him 5 shackles in his pay. That's what we get
Shekels.
paid, and yeah. So
Shekels.
I don't know. Is Hungry? Is there anything you wanted to add to the whole like major thing? Like anything that you do personally, like when you travel somewhere far?
You should go to a supermarket and get food.
Yes,
When
that's
you make
actually
it, once you make it to the destination, like the city you're gonna be in, head up to that supermarket, yo. Get some like fruit cups. Fruit cups are my jam at majors.
that is true. That's very true. Um, that's another reason I can recommend SmashCon. There's literally a Walmart in the parking lot of where the tournament is, and like there's a hotel that's like right across the street from the Walmart. So you got everything you need in like one convenient space. Because depending on where you go, like tournament like location wise, like you're gonna be like you're not gonna have all the resources available to you, like without having to take an Uber across town or something. So that's definitely a huge thing. Like I always recommend, like Hungry's thing is the fruit cups. Like I'm a big fan of protein bars or like the snack packs, and definitely buy a case of water. Like save yourself the trouble. Like that saves you so much money, and like because you don't realize the amount of money you spend on food when you go to a tournament until you actually get back from the tournament. And you're like, man, I spent so much money on food this
It's a
weekend.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
it's
the thing is
Everyone wants
because
to go out too. Everyone wants to go to spend the cool diners and
yeah.
restaurants.
Let's go to Korean barbecue.
Yeah,
yeah, let's ball out. Because yeah, that makes a big difference too. I mean, just think about spending like a few bucks let's just say you spend $15 in a grocery store and you get multiple like meals worth of or snack meals or snacks worth of like eating, and then you go out and you're spending like at least $15 and it's just like a single consumption, you're done. Like it adds
Yeah,
up, man.
yeah. Like it's okay to have like Easy Mac for dinner, or like don't eat out all 3 meals in a row, like all in the day.
yeah.
Like bring a protein bar in the morning for breakfast. Like pack an Easy Mac cup for lunch or something like that.
Bring
Like
some bagels.
exact. Did we do that once?
That was frostbite.
That was Frostbite. We brought bagels. That was
Bagels and that veggie cream cheese.
I don't remember if we ate that or not. To be completely honest with
I
you.
definitely ate a lot of it.
Okay, I don't remember. That was a long. That when you drive for 12 hours in like the dead of winter, it burns holes in your memory.
And
But
literal snowstorms.
yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, we're wild.
That's also something that like I think goes like under talked about when you travel places. Try to get there like if you know the tournament's a 3 day, I highly recommend getting there like the day before. Like don't try to play hero ball and like show up like day of the tournament. Like there's certain people
Hero
we know
ball.
that yeah. Like there's certain people that I know in my close circle that like will wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to drive 4 hours to a tournament to get there on time because they want to like
Save some
save.
money.
Yeah,
Save
they want to like
$70.
yeah, exactly. Like save yourself the pain and just bite the bullet. Like know if you're going somewhere, you're gonna know far enough in advance to like how much money you're gonna need. Like just take the extra day. Either like and like that just makes so much of a difference.
Yeah. Um, that's good to be prepared, basically.
Yeah. So Chris, I have a question for you. Like is Smash and Splash like the first time you're like traveling like out of like region for something that's like you're
As
not working for?
as a matter of fact, it is. And I'll,
Oh,
I'll have you know I'm not even entering because I'm just going to enjoy the water park and the company of my friends, which is
yeah.
going to be like 40 of them there. So
It makes me
Yeah,
very
everybody's
upset that
gone.
you're. Yeah, it makes me very upset that everyone's going and I'm not. So
makes me sad too, and I think about it because I don't know. I'll definitely be trying to go to more things in the future. This one has. I feel like I've always been sort of hounded to like go to things, and it hasn't really worked out. But since Ultimate's come out and the schedules have kind of gotten more structured, and things aren't getting booked doubly, it's a lot easier to actually plan. So
So do you have any like questions, like as someone that's never traveled to an event like a super major before?
Get fruit
uh,
cups.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I've traveled a lot in general, so I don't have like a ton of questions. I guess that's part of why I'm not even entering. I sort of just want to like take in the experience, so to speak.
So what's your travel pro tip? What's something that you like to do when you travel when you know you're traveling somewhere far?
Hmm. Honestly, I like to. I'm very good at packing and like basically airports. You know, if you're flying, airports have like a lot of like weird rules with your luggage and things you could carry on and can't carry on. Um, I usually try to carry on everything all at once, and if it's an option to even pay a few extra bucks just to have a carry-on bag with me, I'll do that over checking. It's one less thing to worry about. Two, everything like the second you land or even when you're boarding, everything's already with you. So if you just pack efficiently, like it makes a huge difference. Like I don't know. That's like my main thing. Anytime I get on an airplane, I really don't like checking bags if I don't have to.
That's fair. Like, that's actually a really good thing to talk about too. Is like what to bring with you and what like packing efficiently. Like, it sounds like a simple thing to do until you're actually like doing it. My pro tip for packing is there's never such a thing as too much underwear. That's just me.
That's true. And
And
Like,
socks.
socks.
And
Yeah.
and
socks.
socks. Yeah, like I always make sure to pack extra on those because my biggest fever dream every time I travel is that I pack like one less pair of underwear than I need, and then I'm just like, fuck, what do I like? I have to walk down this very deep rabbit hole of like, do I want to be that guy right now and like turn it inside out or do whatever I need to do to like get through the rest of my trip? But that is that yeah, I think someone I knew had to buy underwear at the airport once, and I spent like $25 on it.
Oh my
Oh, and it probably
god.
sucked too.
Yeah, it's I don't recommend that. So like,
Uh,
is there anything like one thing you guys like never like leave home without, even though you know you probably don't need it?
I always bring my headphones because I usually listen to something while I'm sleeping. Like trying to get to sleep, I'll listen to something, but like obviously I can't play it out loud so everybody else is sleeping. So I'll bring in my headphones so I can listen to my stuff.
And the big blanket.
And the blanket, yeah,
That's like the Our Hungry special.
yeah. Everyone's jealous of it, but everyone makes fun of it at the same time. Like
I've never once made fun of it.
when we're getting there, everyone's like, "Why'd you bring this big ass blanket?" I'm like, "Oh, you'll see." And then we get to the place, and there's no blanket, and I'm cozy, and everyone's like, "Can I borrow it for a second?" I'm like, "Hell."
Oh no. Hold on. I might have to.
Oh, who died?
Yeah, lost you guys for just a moment there. That was weird.
Okay, so glad you're back with us.
Whew.
I was gonna say the one thing that I do now is that I'll bring like a stuffed animal and like put it in my suitcase, just because it's like a superstitious thing whenever I like travel somewhere.
Plus, it could double as a pillow.
Exactly. I remember because my thing when I we can get into like more money stuff in a second, but like I'm a habitual shopper. When I go to like events that have vendors, like I always want to come home with a souvenir because I'm a piece of shit. And sometimes like the most clutch thing I ever bought, and I'm looking at it right now, is this giant green Koopa shell that I bought when I went to Genesis 3 like 3 years ago. And that thing saved my life because I had to sleep on the floor and I didn't have a pillow. And that thing acted as a pillow, and it was great. It was one of the best nights of sleep I ever got in my entire life. Um, but yeah, that's just my like very specific like weird thing that I bring with me. I always tend to bring a stuffed animal with me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just thinking of soft things that you pack, like being on an airplane and having something to prop your head up against is actually pretty good, especially if you are in like a window seat. Because
Yeah,
like usually I just use a sweatshirt though, TBH. But if you're going somewhere warm, I guess you wouldn't really use a sweatshirt.
yeah, it depends on who you are. Oh yeah, and I guess this goes without saying. Like it's a meme, but like please bring deodorant. like hygiene
Yeah.
is so important when you're traveling. To
Don't
these
forget to
places.
pack your hygiene, and if you don't have a lot of hygiene, pack your hygiene anyways.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
now you're
it's
gonna
just
get hygiene.
Yeah, it is really important, especially if you are going to be staying with people in a room like a cluster of you. That's a lot of like sweaty dude heat at in the middle of the night. Like don't make it be smelly. Like
Yeah, like I understand it's a meme and like people are just like, no, Smash tournaments don't smell that bad. Like, no, they do in certain places. Like I forget, I think it was at Suplex City. Like just as like a smaller scale example, there's just this one part of the venue that just smelled terrible, and I'm just like, oh my god, like somebody walked out of the house like I don't know what goes through people's heads, or like they think it's okay to like not put on deodorant or clean clothes or like brush their teeth or something like that. Like I don't understand. Like those people are cops. Like I truly don't understand how somebody can like wake up and do that. So like, don't be if you don't want people to make fun of you, like don't be that guy. Because
yeah, plain and simple.
like it's just so easy. Like even if you just like go in the shower and like brush yourself with water for 5 minutes, just like do it. At least give us the illusion that you're trying to clean yourself. Like it's really not that fucking hard. I've stayed with I've stayed with people in the past for like I've stayed with these people for like 3 or 4 plus days and they showered once. And I'm just like, yo, man,
Oh
come
no.
on, you like, I'm begging you, like,
Yeah, pick your roommates wisely. Make sure they're similar to your habits to some end. Whew.
yeah, that's like an underrated thing too. Like naturally, it sounds easy, but like you obviously want to travel with people you're friends with, because like you can like let some bodily habits fly, and like you don't have to worry about like holding back in front of your friends, because like naturally you're gonna like it's one thing when you see people like at a local like once a week or something like that, but it's another thing where you got to spend like 4 or 5 days with these people, and like you don't want to like turn off the people you're friends with, because like obviously when you're in that close proximity with somebody, like you're gonna see some stuff about them, like some skeletons are gonna come out of the closet.
That's true. Being
Yeah,
close
so
quarters
like
with someone, like even if it's for a couple days,
yeah, like it's different. Like you learn a lot about
yeah, you
somebody
see some
in those
shit.
couple of days. Yeah, so like definitely like don't make things hard on everybody else. Like you can if you don't want to shower at home, that's fine. But if you're staying with me, your ass is taking a fucking shower at least once or twice. Like
Yeah, you should be showering at least once a day, but hey, it is. It is what it is.
yeah,
Um, I don't know, guys.
try to.
I think that's I feel like we kind of honestly like I feel like this is like the most info like actual information and like we've kind of had like as far as like direct like advice info goes. But I
Yeah.
do think it's good because there are a lot of people now who are discovering Smash and there are a lot of people now who are just sort of like interested in competing and traveling. So this is information coming from seasoned vets. So not so
Yep.
much as
Oh,
in myself, but you know.
yeah. I was gonna say the last thing for me personally is like budget yourself. Like when you're at the actual events, it's like I said, like you're gonna be spending a lot of money when you go to these tournaments. If you like barely make ends meet, or like you if you're the type of person that tends to like just barely make it by, and like you're kind of stingy with your money, uh, that like big tournaments like this might not be your speed, because like there's gonna be a lot of temptation, whether it be like to go out to eat with your friends, or to like to buy that anime figure that costs at least $50 or something like that. Like definitely like budget. Like if you like obviously like you want to have some spending money. Like I always make sure to have like I said, I'm a shopper when I go to events. So like I like to come home with like 1 or 2 things if I can. Um, but definitely just be smart with your money. Like don't blow it all on the same day. Look for deals. Like if as I think as like a good advice for like whether it be a Smash tournament or a con is just like scout out the first couple of days. Like kind of like pick your spots. Like know what you're looking for, and then like if you see that same person on Sunday, like 9 times out of 10, these vendors are gonna be willing to haggle with you because they're just gonna try to get rid of their inventory. So like I have a giant Meta Knight plushie that I think was like $60 or $70, like at like the first 2 days, and he was still there on Sunday, and I got it for $50. So like it might not look like much, but like that's $20 I saved or something like
Well,
that.
yeah,
You
because
know what I mean?
if you had like $200 and you said, okay, I can't spend more than $200, that's $20 you could use for something else, a la
Yeah,
budget.
Hmm.
yeah, exactly. That's food, but yeah, like this is just like budget yourself. Like I think if it's like I think like I tend to only impulse buy like figurines or stuff like that because like those tend to go like really quickly because people are fucking insane.
Idle trash.
It's not just okay. It's not always idols.
It's
Get off my
almost no. You
get off
deserve
my.
it.
Leave me alone.
No.
I'm looking at like 3 figures right now on my not idols.
And then like 5 of them are. Come on.
I gotta go. Yeah, but like, yeah, that's a big thing. Like, just know your limits. Like, if you're a spender, then like budget accordingly. But if you're not, then like you have nothing to worry about. But like, you know, that your mileage may vary with that. So
Yeah, man. But yeah, so that, we are getting towards the end though. And speaking of majors, and having them come up and having people try to go, I wanted to throw this out there. I know the compendiums are still going on, correct? For like MomoCon and
Yeah.
yes,
all that jazz. Yeah, so you know, and this is another thing that happens, like compendiums where you fund people, and again, you never know who's watching, so this might be news to someone. Where you basically try and help people travel. So a lot of times the local people will make them onto there. In this particular case, in MomoCon, Jack has made it on for you know, being a Peach player. So it's
Yes.
like that's all stuff too. So it's like you know, we already have guys confirmed around here. Like James, I know is going. I actually don't even know who else is going. But
I
then
think Biddy's going.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so that's stuff to keep up with as well. So in the name of community and sort of building things, there are people who are constantly trying to travel out within your local scene, almost guaranteed. Especially if you're from a local local scene that is very active, such as like New Jersey's. But just wanted to put that on the radar for everyone because I know that was something that was this week, specific to MomoCon, because that's this weekend, yeah. Or
That's
2
like-
weeks, 2 weeks, 2
next-
weeks, 2 weeks.
Next week.
Yeah.
Next weekend.
Wow, that's soon.
Yeah.
It's Carmel, which I'll be at. MomoCon, and then Smash and Splash.
I'm not gonna be at any of those. So
Ha 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 ha.
yeah, but go out of them for Jack, man. Like, there's a lot of good people on the compendium, but he obviously is like, I don't know how far close he is to being funded.
I think
I
he has
know,
like 300 out of $500 somewhere.
Oh,
That's not
really?
bad.
He's getting there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I spent my own hard-earned money on Jack because he deserves a beer. So definitely go out, support your boy. Like compendiums, we've gone over them time and time again. Like it's a real crapshoot sometimes, and like you're not. It's really hard to get on a compendium in the first place. So like for Jack to be that close to like and not be able to make it,
Oh,
like
check
that'd
that.
be kind of hard.
That's actually pretty cool. Pasta, Blazing Pasta and Jack both about a little over halfway to being funded.
Yeah, let's go, cool guy.
I
Yeah.
think he's doing that thing where if he gets fully
Funded?
funded, he's gonna wear a peach dress.
Wait,
Blazing
Jack?
Pasta.
Oh, Blazing Pasta. Okay, damn. He'll
Damn,
probably
I
get
should've
fully
bought-
funded.
Hey man, I
Yeah.
should have opted into compendium, man. As someone that's dressed up as Peach before.
I've seen it. Well,
I've
I've seen the pictures.
Oh yeah, shoutouts to Coop Peach. That is yeah. The fun fact, I actually had to cut that costume off of me. It would not come off.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was
the
I bought
things we do.
yeah. I bought the biggest size they had, and it went on, but it wouldn't come off.
I mean,
There's a lot of regret.
a lot of regret, a lot of shame.
Yeah, don't be like.
Made for a
Yeah,
good picture, though.
That's true. It makes a great reaction picture. So, but yeah, I hope there's something in here for somebody that like finds this advice helpful. Like once these VODs go live, because like planning for a major sounds kind of scary, but like if you budget yourself properly, like it's really not that hard. Like if you have responsible friends and people that you like can trust and go with, then like it's really easy. But like I said, like that your mileage may vary on that. Like I can't help you find new friends. Gotta have to do
I
that
was
on
just
your
gonna
own.
say, is that next week's episode, finding new friends
Yeah,
that are
finding-
responsible,
Finding
Yes.
friends.
finding responsible friends.
Step 1, don't tell them you watch anime. Step 2, don't tell them you watch anime.
Yeah, there's something about people who watch anime, man. I don't know.
Yeah, never tell your parents.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh boy.
All right,
All right,
guys.
but
Yeah, this is a fun one. And yeah, if you did sort of get a value out of this, or just straight out get a value out of this, or just heard some good advice, be sure to share with your friends, especially your new ones who are trying to learn this stuff. That's kind of the whole point of this podcast, is to bridge that gap of the things that are already happening to the people who are trying to be involved with them, to the people who had no idea that they could be involved with them. So that's all this stuff is for you guys out there.
oh, hey, Chris, before we sign off, look at the chat really quick before you like go completely dark,
Oh,
like in
oh,
the Discord
okay,
chat.
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah.
can do
That's no
that
problem
after.
at all. We could certainly do that for the good friend of ours, Hazmat. So
Yeah. Yeah. So if you guys liked this podcast, you can follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ, where I tweet all the good advice. And while I will not be at these other tournaments, I will be watching them and probably tweeting my thoughts because that's something I don't do enough of, and I want to do it more because my opinions are important, I think.
yeah, they're pretty good opinions. I mean, you have a podcast and stuff, so
Hell yeah.
you know. But anyways, yeah. So you could also follow me for lots of I don't know, I guess local Smash Bros stuff. I'm starting to branch out. I saw something that motivated me quite a bit earlier, and you know what? I think I'll share it right now. Basically, it was this kid who couldn't break this wooden board in his karate class, and then his sensei is kind of a boss, and the whole room like basically glue up for him, and then he fucking snapped that shit, and I was just like, wow,
Yeah,
that
that
is cool.
amazing.
That
That is
cried.
really cool.
dude, that's like I don't like to me like that's like some serious like collective will.
Let's go, boy.
Oh shit.
Oh,
I have the volume on. I got to turn it off. Sorry, that scared me. All right. Yeah, but basically this kid like just couldn't break this board, man. Sensei's just like, "Yo, bro, come on. Like you can break this board. Like it's cool." He's like, "Yo, come on.
He's
Do
like,
it."
yes, you can.
And then
yes, you
dude,
can.
and then like this kid in the jumpsuit in the back is like the hype man. He's just like, yo, like, all right, you got it, bro. And then like, look, he starts to get getting hype. He's like, yo, okay, we gotta pump up. And the sensei's like, yo, come on, man, like just break it. Like you've done this before. And then this kid's like, yo, I'm kind of overwhelmed. Like I don't know if I could do this. And then like here, fast forward a little bit, get in position. He snaps that shit, dude. Hold on, look a little bit harder. Yeah. Look at that,
That's
dude. That is hype.
Yeah, you have to watch it with audio, but it's so good.
Yeah, you definitely got to watch with audio, but like here, watch where he starts. Look, like, come on,
Yeah, he just immediately eats shit, and then like,
yo, and he's already like
Does it.
he is shook right there. He's just like, oh, this is kind of bad. Okay, I'll kind of screw up. Oh no, yeah, dude, and then like, whack. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was super cool. So, anyways,
it is very cool.
so I am someone who enjoys this part of humanity quite a bit, enough so to be like, man, it would be cool to like, I don't know. It's just cool to make people do cool shit. So, anyways, that's my Twitter in a nutshell. That was a very long-winded way to say follow me at CSantosZX. But I'm hungry. Why don't you go ahead and plug your Twitter, man?
All right, so I tweet about things I complain about a lot. If you want to see someone complain about something, I'm your man. Also, my Twitch is coming back. Smash is over, and I have a lot of big plans. You'll see what they are if you follow me on Twitter, and then you'll actually see them when you follow me on Twitch. And you can even subscribe to me on Twitch, so you can do that too, and get a cool Glenn emote.
Yeah, that Glen emote's pretty great. I'll
I'm
give
gonna
you
post it
that.
right now. I'm gonna post it right now on the chat. If I can get it. Ooh, there it is.
It's a pretty epic emote. Yeah, that's really good. That's so much use. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. As you can see, or may have not seen yet, we are experimenting with some more content. So as you see that stuff drop, please give the feedback as usual. I always encourage feedback of this podcast. Some of you are kind of shy of it, but will hit me in the DMs on the occasion. So feel free to continue doing that. And that's going to wrap it up. We're going to send it over to Hazmat now, who does quite a bit of work in New England, just kind of doing similar stuff we're doing here. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
Yep.